I will never write T-H-E-I-R.
Wow, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, nah.
Someone that opposed to that spelling of the word.
I'm not thinking about conjugation and all this kind of stuff when I'm writing football notes. I'm just trying to get my damn thought out on a piece of paper.
I don't think that's conjugation. Oh, yeah, that.
Oh, yeah, baby, that's right. You came to the right place. It's Chris Sims. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Ahmed Fareed is here. We're not here to teach you English class. We're here to teach you football and talk ball. All right, that's what we're here to do. And I'm never that good at English or writing or any of that. And yes, I'm still sticking to that. I'm never going to write T-H-E-I-R. It's just not going to happen. I don't care. You still know what it means when I write T-H-R-E.
That's true.
Right. It's just one of those things that I just don't think is necessary and makes the English language more complicated than it should be.
Maybe one of the more shocking things I've ever learned about you is that you refuse to write there that way.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's, of all the crazy things I do in life, that was the one.
I think so, that you are that opposed to it.
I am. I remember in school, I literally would have teachers write it on and like circle it in red pens.
And you go, I don't do that.
I just go, I don't do that. E-I-R is not in my...
Go religiously where I come from. We don't do that.
We don't do that. We just do T-H-E-R-E. But what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's good. Week 6 in the books. As always, we are proud to be sponsored by Lowe's. Thank you, Lowe's. You're the best. And then added on that, you know what this week was?
What was it?
We found some shit out this week.
We did?
We did. We figured some shit out finally. I think we did.
Okay.
This is the first week, right? No, I didn't find anything out about English or anything like that. But on football, I do think we had some questions answered. I do think it was a week where we could start to go, wait, no, this team is good. This team is not what we thought, right? And maybe we can be on the right path of knowing what these teams are going forward.
I think you're right. Now we do know that your Super Bowl pick of the Cincinnati Bengals are now tied currently with your G-Men.
Yeah.
I'm curious who you're rooting for in this game because, of course, you grew up rooting for the Giants.
Yes.
But your professional reputation lies in the hands of the Cincinnati Bengals this year too.
No, I've had this. This is rare for me that I've literally been rooting for both teams a little bit.
Sure.
If Giants get a fourth down, I'm like yes. But then the Bengals throw an incompletion, I'm like, oh come on, hit them, Joe. What are you talking about?
You cannot win.
So I'm not. Yeah, this is a tough game for me. But I think ultimately in my hearts, I want to win my job more than anything, and I'd like Cincinnati to be at least in the playoff picture so I don't look like an idiot. I think Joe Burrow, of course, is one of the best people in football.
Yeah.
I think they're a fun team to watch if they do get in the playoffs. We know how clutch they are. So I guess there's a little bit of that. And I know there's no real hope for the Giants.
Right.
Yeah, we can be annoying and competitive, but I mean, we're not going anywhere. We don't have that potential.
Win other games,
yeah,
right? There are
other games that I'm not on national TV with 14 million people watching, and my reputation is at stake.
I will tell you this though: if the Bengals do lose this game, go 1-5, we will never bring this up again. People will forget.
Yeah,
what you did.
I'm sure.
I'm going to talk to Devin McCourty because
he
brings it up more than I do.
And Devin McCourty bring it up every week. For two people who never made a pick about the Super Bowl, they love to tell me how wrong I am about mine. But
yes,
go ahead. Boop, 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 boop. Go ahead, do it.
What's our tune again? What's our
dun 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 dun? We work at NBC.
God.
Okay. The Bengals scored a touchdown, but they called it back for holding.
Ooh.
So we take that dun 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 back.
Yeah, I'll take that one back.
All
we
right.
will use that again though, so we will keep you updated on a game that you already know the result, but we don't. So don't ruin it for us. Spoiler alert.
You're funny.
We're hitting everything. Of course, that's our promise to the homies. We talk about each and every game. We got NFC North dominance, taking care of business, some road warriors, some road teams.
Okay.
We're road favorites, and then they did take care of business. Give me the headlines. We'll preview what's coming up on Monday. We'll review what happened on Thursday. So a lot to get to. But we start with our friends there at Lowe's with Lowe's Home Team Help. Yes, this is presented by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. One of the rare home teams that was able to do it, although it was not easy.
Right.
It was maybe one of the games of the day, and they said in Baltimore there it was the hottest ticket that they've had in a long time. It was in, it was in Baltimore.
In Baltimore. You're right.
It was one of the hottest tickets they've had there in a long time. Ravens beat the Commanders 30-23, and this was one of those where they build a quarterback for the future versus the current Lamar Jackson. Jayden Daniels said, "Don't compare me to him. I'm my own guy." But really, if you're going to talk about the home team help, when you're a quarterback, you love having a good running game, and Derrick Henry did it again for him. they got a lot of playmakers out there on this offense,
and
they flexed their muscle on this one.
Yeah, they did. And again, home team help. That's a tough place to play in Baltimore. I've been there before. I think it's one of the loudest outdoor stadiums in all of football. It's up there with like the Seattle Seahawks and all of that. But the Ravens are playing high-quality football right now. We can certainly question their defense a little bit. It's not maybe as dominant as I thought it might be before the year, but I think where it's a little different is I like their offense more this year than I liked it last year, and their offense is really, I think, clicking on all cylinders and still breaking down barriers to infuse more weapons into this, because here we got this little graphic we're showing you, Lamar and Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers, three-headed monster. We know how good all three of them are, but we saw Mark Andrews today start to get involved in the game plan a little bit. Rashad Bateman always pops up here and there. We know Isaiah Likely is good. They give you a lot to defend, and as usual, it starts with their run game. That's where it starts, right? They got off to a little bit of a shaky start, certainly, but then they go down on a long drive. They get a field goal. They get the ball back again, 93-yard drive to go up 10-3 early on in the football games. And it really was. Early on, it was like, wait, we'll give you a little Derrick Henry. Then I feel like Washington kind of panicked and was like, oh, no, they're starting to overpower us. And then it became, oh, no, we can't cover Zay Flowers. And Lamar started to tear him up in the pass game for a little bit while. And then it almost flipped at the end where they were like, okay, all right, we've had enough of the pass. Mercy, we'll play pass defense. And then they go back to the run and they bludgeon you that way. They are tough to defend. The offense is dominant. Lamar's playing good. The receivers have confidence. Derrick Henry's feeling it. All of that, like, all in all, you can't say too much negative stuff about the Baltimore offense, and Lamar absolutely balling right now.
Ravens gang tweeted at you saying, damn okay, Ravens receivers over 200 yards between Bateman and Zay. Is this offense the scariest in the league with everything they can throw at you? So this is what Devin and Coach were saying on Football Night in America. They go, Ravens, best offense in football. My Detroit Lions blood begs to differ.
I questioned them a little bit.
I will say when I was watching this game on the plane coming back from Eugene, I had a long time to watch this game. It was the first time in a while I was like, man, they have a lot more weapons than just Lamar Jackson.
That's where I think it's even different than last year, right? Because we didn't Flowers was a rookie last year. Right, so he wasn't as dominant as he is right now. Rashad Bateman, I think even last year had moments, but we were still waiting for him to be a consistent piece of the offense. He's consistent every week. I don't disagree with what Jason Garrett and McCourty say when they say the Ravens are the best offense in football. Now, I don't say it so easily to where I just go, oh, slam dunk, no problem. I feel like they're doing that a little bit. The 49ers with a healthy Christian McCaffrey are certainly close in that conversation, and even without him are up in that conversation. Your Detroit Lions are definitely up there. Right? You talk about the two running backs you got, the tight ends, the receivers, you got it all. And, of course, the play caller is special to go along with that. And the Green Bay Packers, I think, are another team that are going to challenge that conversation. Because Green Bay, like Detroit and like Baltimore, can run the ball at will, and then they throw the ball down the field like those two teams, and that becomes scary to defend. So that's that. I love all that. And, again, still some questions maybe about that Ravens defense and all of that. But at the same time, too, I don't know if it's as much questions about the Ravens defense rather than Washington's offense is damn good. I don't want to sound like a broken tape or record or whatever, but I'm still here week 6. I'm kind of waiting wait, this Cliff Kingsbury new offense, is it going to really continue to work this week and this week? So, again, I'm still impressed by that. They protect well still. And then the damn quarterback, he never dies. He doesn't ever care. He doesn't ever blink in pressure situations. One great throw and standing tall in the pocket with people around him. Yeah. I mean, it was really impressive today how he kind of hung in there and kept them in the football game. And some tough moments where you felt like Baltimore was about to maybe go up 2 or 3 scores and change the game. But third down conversions, fourth down conversions, man, it's hard to stop Jayden Daniels on third and fourth down conversions because, one, he's a good thrower, and then, of course, that athletic ability.
Yeah, and he was able to do it in this game without a running game.
I know.
He was their leading rusher. Robinson was hurt, and so he was the leading rusher with 22 yards. To go back to the other running back for the Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry, to wax poetic a little bit about him, there's some stats out there. Next-gen stats, carried the ball 24 times, 132 yards, a couple touchdowns. He generated plus 34 rushing yards over expected, so all the dots are like, how many should a normal running back get here? He was 34 over that total, and, in fact, it is the 4th game of the season where he has been at least 30 yards over expected in the NFL. Last year, only one running back had that many games, and it was Christian McCaffrey who did that 5 times. So Derrick Henry is running at an elite level here early on in this year.
For the conversation about running backs, where they're supposed to fall off a cliff after year 6, right? Especially a guy that's ran the ball and as physical as he is. It is amazing he's still as good as he is at this point of his career. I mean, it's a testament to the freak of nature he is, and then he takes care of himself and trains and does all the right things to be a true professional. And that's why his career is going to last longer, and he's going to continue to collect big checks as he plays here. But I think, too, with what we're talking about here, I think it speaks a little to the offensive line. One, because he is let him get momentum going, right? You've always heard people talk about that. When you can kind of get in the backfield and not let him get rolling downfield, he doesn't have great acceleration because he's a big guy, right? He's not going to have the quickest break your ankles type of quickness that way, right? So, like, if there's not a lot of space, he's not one that's going to make a ton happen. But if you give him a little lane and he can run downhill, then forget about it. And we don't give it justice to, because we're so used to it and he's so powerful that sometimes you watch plays back and you go, I really forgot that he ran through like 4 arm tackles there, because he doesn't break stride. He just runs through them, and then people fall off them. And sometimes you go, yeah, they opened up a big hole and he ran for 40, and then you watch the replay and you go, wait, he ran through an arm tackle, somebody bounced off him, he stiff-armed somebody, and he just makes it look so easy. Truly impressive what he's doing. And as we always say, great offenses make you defend the whole field. And, man, Baltimore's got that right now. We got to stop Henry up the middle, and as soon as you overplay that, Lamar gets on the outside. Or you overplay the run game in general, and now it's like, wow, well, we got to throw the ball. Zay Flowers is going to beat man-to-man coverage or this run defense, whatever. They really got to go, and they really got a lot of weapons they can talk to, or what do I want to say? Not talk to, but
I mean, they talk to him.
They talk to him, too.
Go out there and make a play.
And we'll see with the defense. That does need some improvement, I do think. I don't think it's as good as I thought it was going to be, but either way, good win for them. Commanders are real good.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. This was their first real test of playing a complete football team.
And they lost by a touchdown.
And even though they lost, they passed the test, in my opinion, to show that they're real. This hasn't been Fugazi schedule stuff or anything like that. And I think they'll continue to be a good football team.
2 4-2 teams that look like 4-2 teams,
exactly,
if not
right.
better than that.
Well, yeah, the Ravens, I think, at their best, are in the conversation for the best team in football, right? I don't think there's any doubt about that. With your Lions, the Vikings, the Chiefs, the Texans, those type of teams we know are kind of in the cream of the crop.
That was Lowe's home team help the Ravens defending the home turf. The Detroit Lions, they went on the road to Dallas, took on the Cowboys, hadn't beat them in a while. Oh, not only did they beat them by a lot, as we take a closer look at the NFC North, which is shaping up like it might be the best division in all of the NFL. Let me start with this.
Yes, start with it.
Let me just start with this. Nick DePanfili says, damn okay, the Lions. Congrats, Ahmed. Thank you, Nick. Hope Aiden being out does not hurt too much. And that, as any Lions fan, it's like 47-9 should be utter celebration. You go to Dallas, you get that big win.
Yep.
Aiden goes out, looks like a broken leg, looks like he's out for the year.
It's broken tibia. Yes, right. Emergency surgery.
Yeah.
Immediate surgery. I don't want to say emergency. Either way, we know it was bad.
We don't want to speculate, but the internet speculation I've seen so far is that it's just not a compound. So, like, that's what immediately I was worried about. I was like, this year's done. He's not going to play this year. I hope it's not something that affects him years into the future. Yeah. Early signs, probably not, but regardless.
Either way, it was a nasty injury that they didn't want to show a replay for.
Yeah,
right?
Which I'm glad. I hate seeing stuff like that.
And it had compound fracture look to it.
Okay.
I guess I don't know. Either way.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know.
A bone snapped, and it didn't look good, and he was in misery, and it hurts.
So this is all Lions fans.
And it hurts all football fans.
This is all Lions fans want to know right now. Are we still a Super Bowl team without him?
You are. You're still a Super Bowl team. Yeah, you're too good of a football team in general to have one guy totally disrupted. But, does it hurt? Is it going to matter if you play the Carolina Panthers or somebody like that? No, it doesn't matter. What you worry about is hey, we're in the NFC Championship game against the Vikings or the Eagles, and they have good tackles. Mm-hmm. And now, man, do we have to blitz all the time? And now it's like A.J. Brown or Justin Jefferson are one-on-one, right? Or we're in the Super Bowl, we're playing the Chiefs or the Ravens, right? And it's like, wow, we'd rather not blitz Lamar all the time but we don't have a choice, and now we're in a little trouble. So that's where I worry about it. I don't really worry about it for like the meat and potato games. It's like against the NFL elite, I think, is where it could show itself. We'll see, though. You guys are a tough football team. You're resilient and certainly creative on both sides of the ball hopefully they can make up for it.
So it was already a weak part of their team. They brought in Marcus Davenport, hoping that he could, put a full year together. He gets hurt, so he's out for the year, and now Aiden's out for the year. So we'll see. Everyone else is going to have to step up.
Yes, they are.
The defense still has a lot of talent. That secondary is so much improved from what it was last year.
Yeah, what a game by Brian Branch today.
Brian Branch, sitting back there picking off some balls. And then you have the offense that can throw up 47. Now, I get it. A lot of injuries. No Micah Parsons. I mean, Cowboys were decimated on the defensive side of the ball. But 47 points is 47 points.
What? I mean, it's Jerry's 82nd birthday. They tried to score 82 on him. They tried to score 82 points on him to give him a happy birthday present. One of the ass kickings of the year. Right? Now it's kind of funny. The Cowboys have received two of probably the biggest ass kickings of the year between this game and the Saints game. That's concerning for sure. The Cowboys, I think, first off, they're not talented enough through and through. They might beat some of the teams that they're supposed to beat or the middle class of football, but it shows here, like when they have to play the upper class of football, they're going to have a hard time matching up with some of these football teams. Your offense, your offensive line, like we started the year out, like they weren't running the ball good. Now it's just become, we're going to run on you whenever we want. They start the game running the football, right? They get Dallas to panic because they're like, oh gosh, they're running at us at will. And just like we talked about with the Ravens, it's a very similar formula, just a little bit different way in how they, get to the final picture, right? It's not much as Lamar and some of that stuff, but once you start doing that, then it just opens the vault for Ben Johnson and Jared Goff to go, let's start and throwing the ball down the field. Let's start gashing them now. And that's what happens. And now it's like, oh, we ran the ball, and I think it was 8 of the first 10 plays, right, that they ran the ball to start the game. They had success. And then the next series was like Dallas, like, oh, no, we can't stop the run. And Ben Johnson just dials up play action pass and one aggressive throw after another. And, I mean, they were rolling from the get-go in every phase. And then there's Dallas who, again, we've talked about there's not enough big people on their defense. The injuries you've talked about, even in the secondary, it's not an extremely talented group. Trayvon Diggs, to me, is the only guy that's blue chip elite there, and that showed. And then when you couple that, Dak Prescott throwing a bad red zone interception early, they just, hey, we got to stay in the game. We just got to stay competitive, and maybe we get a lucky or a turnover and any of that. And Brian Branch makes an unbelievable play there. And really, I feel like after that, you get to 10-3. The Lions throw out one of their trick plays. They're never afraid of the trick plays. The reverse flea flicker for the touchdown. And you felt like, man, that might be night-night right there. 17-3, and like Dallas had shown zero signs of being able to stop him at that point.
When I found out that Micah Parsons was going to be out, I was like, that's pretty guaranteed of a Lions win.
Yeah.
I was like, because they can't stop the run.
Right.
And the only hope is that maybe you can get some pressure on Jared Goff and make him feel a little shaky, and
so
they can't throw the ball.
I picked this as my best bet this week because I thought Dallas does not match up well with this team because you guys are so good up front. And again, like we always talk about, you got to be great at something. You're so great up front that teams go, oh no, we have to bend to that. And then you're also great at play action pass and throwing the ball down the football. So that's where it's going to be tough on defenses. But I even wrote in my notes as I was going on, I go, man, it's 20-3, and it feels like the Cowboys are just barely hanging on. And obviously they had the same feeling too because then they went for it on 4th and 2 on their own 38-yard line. And then the Lions go right down and score, night, game over, total demolition, demolish the Dallas Cowboys. And, yeah, Detroit's starting to look like the team we thought they are, and they're one of the best teams in football.
Trinsanity51 says, is Jameson Williams the Lions' best receiver?
Oh, well, he's definitely your most explosive, dangerous one.
We saw the full spectrum of Jameson. We saw the bad drop off the chest. Right? He will give us that every once in a while. You go like, have you tried to catch balls? Have you caught balls for a living? For how long? Have you just started doing this?
Right.
But then he'll make some of the most spectacular explosive plays in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I think anybody watches that, you got to go, he's definitely one of the fastest guys in football.
Yes.
And then when they get you crept up and Trayvon Diggs covering him man-to-man, I don't care who you are. It's hard to stay with him. If they can block and protect Goff and he's running a 50 or 60-yard route down the field, good luck. But doing whatever you want in the run game, I mean, I don't even know how many. You look like you averaged over 5 yards per carry in the run game. And then to 18 completions for 315 yards? Like, are you kidding me? That means every time he dropped back, it was basically a 20-yard completion. I mean, that's insane. That really is insane. Dallas, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot to say about him.
Let's end with that.
You want to do it?
Yeah, with Cowboys. I don't know what you're going to say, but I think I know what you're going to say. It's their worst home loss since 1988.
Right.
It's their worst loss period since 2010. They're 0-4 in their last 4 home games. That includes the Green Bay Packers shellacking in the playoffs.
Right.
So that wasn't great.
Nope.
This was already a year where the pressure was high on a guy that you're seeing on the screen if you're watching on Peacock or YouTube right now, Mike McCarthy. I mean, like, where are they? It's like, yes, we saw last week they beat the Steelers.
Yeah, but that's a perfect matchup for them, right? Giants were a perfect matchup for them before. So I think you're going to see them kind of – I think this will continue. You know, let me, like –
So what does it mean for that man?
Yeah.
What does it mean for the direction of this?
I would say the direction's – it's trouble, right?
Yes.
That's what I would worry about. And you look at their schedule and what they got coming up here with the 49ers, the Falcons, the Eagles, and the Texans, and then the Commanders, and you go, no, they could easily lose 5 of those games. They could lose them all. There's no doubt. Now, will they win 1 or 2? Maybe. But and they fight and they play hard for the most part. I do feel like that. Today, it felt like they were so overwhelmed that they kind of did give up towards the end of the game, and the Lions just kept the pedal on the metal. Yeah. But the biggest thing is they can't run the ball. It's all about Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. And it's all they got. And then on defense, it's like, wait, if Micah Parsons not there to make plays or create turnovers, and Trayvon Diggs isn't, I don't think, totally 100%, no Deron Bland, there's just nothing there they can get going. And they are a team, and I give, like Jason Garrett always says this, they want to play from a lead. Mm-hmm. They want to get out 7-0 and then let the pass rushers and the chaos of their speed of their front seven start to make some plays. They can't do that, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that very much against the good teams in football.
They're not a team that can fall down 47-9 and make a comeback and win that game. That's how they're built.
Not
right
exactly.
Now. So the Cowboys go down. My Detroit Lions look pretty good, even though they did lose Aiden Hutchinson probably for the year. The Chicago Bears.
Wait. Come on.
Dun, da, 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 da.
Damn, wait, Ahmed's been on the West Coast. He's a little slow today, okay? So we're getting him there.
That's a long flight from Eugene.
The Giants drove down and had about, I'm going to say, a 44-yard field goal, and they missed it to tie the game. 47, Pete's telling my ear.
Okay,
so just to let you know, it's 10-7 Bengals still, 10-10 left in the fourth quarter. Bengals have the ball 2nd and 5 on about their own 44 to 45-yard line.
Dun, 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 dun. You might have to do that for the rest of this whole podcast.
No, definitely. The way you're it up, you're doing it. All right? It's better that way.
I don't know what chime's going to come out of my mouth when you point to me. That's the problem.
I like it. I know. Maybe you'll do another network chime.
I think I'm about to do that. All right, we'll keep you updated on that one, maybe without the chimes next time. The Bears were in London. Big Ben, we'll do the Big Ben chime for this one. Bears looked awesome.
Big Ben.
I'll tell you what, if you were listening to this podcast last Wednesday, you looked at the film for the Bears, you looked at that offense.
I told you.
I'll tell you. You said, I'll tell you what, Ahmed, they're a lot more creative.
They are.
Than they had been in the past.
Yes,
and maybe
they are.
that we gave them credit for, and the whole world got to see it in London.
It is cool that everybody got to see it. You know, I always love when a team gets to showcase themselves for the first time kind of on the national scene. And then it's a young player, like Jayden Daniels got a Thursday night game, and everyone's like, oh, my gosh, he's good. This is the first time the whole country got to tune in and watch Caleb Williams, and they went, oh, my God, he's really good, right? He was phenomenal. But it does go to the bigger picture of what we talked about. You know, when they were struggling on the offensive side of the ball, it wasn't all about Caleb Williams. It was the offense in general, and Caleb Williams wasn't good on top of that. Now the offense has got better. They've given Caleb Williams, you know, a little more room for error. He doesn't have to be perfect. Creativity, some easy plays, all that type of stuff. And I love their offense. I really do. I broke it down at halftime. I broke it down in the pregame. They do a lot of what we talk about all the time, right? Tying plays together. A lot of plays that look the same that are different. Or this looks different, but it's actually the same as something we did earlier, right? They're really good at that. And I'm enjoying watching the flow of their offense. And then, of course, when you throw that on top of the talent, hey, those 3 receivers with that tight end, Cole Kmet, and then, DeAndre Swift, like I think he looks as good as any year he's ever looked in his career. And then here's the thing that blows me out of the water. You know I'm obsessed with Caleb Williams and his arm talent, right? I get that, and his movement and everything. But this is where, to me, he outshines all the rookie quarterbacks. They have given him the green light to run the show from the line of scrimmage. I know you were flying today, so you didn't get to see this, but he was at the line of scrimmage the whole game. Like, check this, check that, Mike him, that signals here. And for them to empower a young guy like that, that to me just shows me that, like, he's really got a special way about him, work ethic, and how he can learn, that they can just hand over the offense like this early in his career and trust him to get into the right play all the time at the line of scrimmage.
He's a bright dude, and it seems like for a long time he's been a student of the game.
Yeah.
You knew that from talking to conversations with him as well. He is the first Bears rookie with 4 or more touchdown passes in a game since Cade McNown in 1999, and that went really well for the Bears, and so that's a good omen for the future.
Wow.
So let's take a look at the dots. You mentioned Cole Kmet, 31-yard touchdown reception. He was just busting through people. Caleb had the double pump fake on this one. This is the play, tying some plays together, making it look like something they ran earlier in the game.
Exactly. They ran the same play, the play before, and threw the screen to the running back. So this time they go, let's fake the little swing to the receiver who comes in motion and Keenan Allen. Now I'll go back to, I just threw the screen to the running back and show you it. And what is what happens is Jacksonville's going, wait, we just saw this play. Hold on. We're going to react to it. And then the middle linebacker, Lloyd, watch him, number 33, his head's kind of spinning and he's going for the screen and he's like, oh no. And Cole Kmet's by him for the touchdown. You know, I can't remember. We had this play call in Gruden. It was like fake double screen, Y check middle or whatever. That's kind of the play call. I'm messing up some of the language there, which I've been famous to do with John Gruden calls anyways. There's a few videos of me on the internet doing that. But
I've never seen that.
This is the kind of thing I love. I do. I love this. And then they are physical, run the ball up front, and you know, they're explosive. They really were. It was an impressive showing. And let's not forget this, too, with the Bears.
Yeah.
Best defense in the NFC North is the Chicago Bears. A lot of people talk about Detroit. A lot of people talk about Brian Flores and all of the, you know, dropping out, showing blitzes, doing all of that. And you make me pick a defense in the NFC North, I would definitely take Detroit.
Well, certainly made life hard.
I mean, Chicago's D. Sorry,
I would take Detroit's too. Certainly made life hard on the Jacksonville Jaguars in this one because they couldn't run the ball that well, even though. Tank Bigsby had a big play in the passing game, I believe, at one point. Or was it a return?
No, it was a return.
That's right.
Yes, it was a return. It was,
so that was. I mean, they really could not get that much going. And Trevor Lawrence seemed rattled and shook, much like he has many games this season so far.
Came out looking good, and you're kind of going, hey, here they go moving down the field, and they couldn't punch it in the end zone. They settled for a field goal, and they kind of controlled the first quarter of the football game, but only came away with 3-0. And then the Bears, like after 2 3-and-outs, finally marched down the field and then became unstoppable. And yeah, the Jaguars couldn't get into rhythm, couldn't get anything going. And then, of course, there was some bad turnovers as well, like when they're trying to mount the comeback and do all of that as well. Evan Ingram fumbled at one point. That was big. I thought there was another turnover, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But either way, and I guess it was Trevor's interception that I'm thinking of. But yeah, not good. You know, not good as far as protecting Trevor, couldn't run the ball, and he did have one of those off days again where there was a few throws where you just definitely went, wait, you're too damn good to miss that throw. Well, that can't happen.
Not great quotes after the game either. Lawrence said, quote, I think as a team we can't be so fragile. It's not going to be perfect every week. And then Andre Sisco, their safety, said, quote, it was really bad. I just felt like it was, how should I say this, a lot of quit. Ooh, so not great on the offensive and defensive side. Well,
I mean, when we got to, late third quarter, or I guess maybe it was early fourth quarter, you definitely felt like the Bears were way superior, and it didn't look like there was any way the Jacksonville can win the game unless just there was miracles happen and Buffalo messed it up. But I will say this, I do wonder if they weren't staying in London this week, right, because they're playing London again next week.
Oh, yeah.
I do wonder if they were coming home like this, maybe Doug Peterson might have not came home. But the fact that they're staying there this week, it might have bought them another week. But we'll see. It was not a good look. Their defense has had way too many games of just being an absolute pushover, not physical, blown assignments, whatever. And then the offense Some big plays here and there, but nothing consistent and always mistakes, false starts, illegal formations, whatever, you name it. They're a mess in Jacksonville right now.
Chicago Bears 4-2. They are tied in the cellar of the NFC North with the Green Bay Packers, who also got a win.
4 teams in the playoffs from the NFC North right now. You know that?
I think
all four are in.
I think they all four might make it.
It's not like, they've got easy schedules or this is just some lucky thing. It's truly 4 playoff caliber football teams in the North.
So a bunch of touchdown passes from Caleb Williams, 4 in the game there.
Should have had 5. His interception, Caleb, Ahmed.
Yeah.
His interception was the easiest throw he had of the day. It was a wide open touchdown, and he tried to be careful with it, and he threw it way too high in the air, and it got intercepted. He would have had 5 interceptions.
Jordan Love, he tied a career high with 4 touchdown passes. They beat the Cardinals, did the Packers 34-13. The final score. TJ Hayes is our Sunday night crew, is making their weekly
here
tradition.
They go. These disruptors
of coming through the studio.
Look at these delinquents go here.
Is that a slow clap?
Oh my gosh. They're doing our clap up. That clap up that you mess up every week. They've taken your rhythm.
Clap it up.
See you.
A lot of people are leaving in the control room. They think that now the podcast is over. They go, oh, thank God.
Those are my guys
shorter.
Right there. My people.
This is my favorite Sunday tradition now.
It is, yeah. I wasn't even aware that we missed them going by, I think a week or 2.
We did.
Until they did the selfie. Until they did the selfie, and we became aware. And our producer, Matt Casey, started to go, hey, idiots, there's people behind you during the show. Look behind.
We're focused on analysis. We're focused on what it has.
Pete was clueless because he's running 7 different machines back there right now, just trying to make the pod work.
TJ Hayes tweeted you and said, Jordan Love deserves a damn okay. Packers offense arguably has its best performance all season. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that. I think it was the smoothest performance, right? When you couple a pass game and run game together and do that, I do think, as I said to start the show, when we were having Baltimore's best offense in football, I'm not going to say Green Bay's better. I think Baltimore's better, but I don't think Green Bay's too far off. And it wouldn't shock me if Green Bay is right up there in that conversation by the end of the year. This was the first game in totality that Jordan Love looked like the guy we saw last year before, getting hurt this year and coming back a little rusty and straightening things out a little late in the game last week against the Los Angeles Rams. But again, another team that I would say is one of the best running teams in all of football in Green Bay. And then their ability and his ability to dial up plays and throw the ball down the field to their cast of receivers and tight ends who can all run down the field and be aggressive that way. You couple that with they have one of the better screen games in all of football too. I love the Green Bay offense. I really do. And yeah, Jordan Love played really, really good today, and the defense on top of that. It was a smothering win, right? I mean, to go up 24-0 halfway through the second quarter and really never looked back and never really gotten threatened by the Cardinals at all today.
Yeah, we're talking about the weapons for the Baltimore Ravens. The Green Bay Packers, they're not necessarily household names, but you look at the receivers and Watson when he's playing and out there, explosive for sure. Dobbs and Jayden Reed, we saw what he did on another touchdown
catch. Exactly right. I mean, you get into it. Jayden Reed's awesome. All right, Christian Watson, as you see today, and we just can he stay healthy and keep his hamstring good, right? But like we see today, he can run by anybody. 44-yard post right down the middle. I mean, nobody can stay with him. He's comparable to a Jameson Williams type of speed guy, right?
Yep.
Then you throw Doubs in there who can kind of do it all, and he's got a little bit more of a physical, I can catch 50-50 balls and adjust and do all that. The tight end play, Josh Jacobs runs hard. Wilson runs hard, right? They, like I said, always infuse a few cool screens during the football game. The Cardinals really could do nothing. They finally got a little drive together in the second quarter, go down, score a touchdown. Love throws an interception the next drive, but the receiver slipped. So he slipped as he was throwing it, intercepted. They get the field goal, and you're going, damn, are the Cardinals going to come back and get in this football game? They're getting dominated, but then things settled down again, and the Packers took control of the football game and ended it with a great all-out blitz throw off his back foot to Doubs for the touchdown, and that put the Cardinals away.
And to your point, they can do it all. 179 yards rushing total, and their longest rush on the day was just 16 yards. So it's not like they ripped off a 50 or 60 yarder.
No, and it's funny is and and I gotta look like they're. I don't think they ever really rip off long runs. That's not what they are. It's not what Josh Jacobs is. But they're the second leading running team in football, only behind the Baltimore Ravens, right? And yeah, they're to me, it's like, again, it's physical domination and bludgeoning a little bit because it's just like 8 yards, 6 yards, 8 yards, 6 yards, and so they're really good. I like them. And
Dun, 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 dun. Holy mackerel.
Man, he is slow tonight. I don't know what he was doing out there in Oregon. The Giants drive the ball again, okay? They get down in borderline field goal range territory, 4th and 2 from about the 37. He throws the ball over the middle to Slayton. DJ Turner knocks it down. So now the Bengals have the ball with about 5 minutes left. Joe Burrow did go into concussion protocol on the last third down.
Oh, no.
He did get crushed right in the chest, and his head hit the ground hard. So I don't know if he's going to be back in here playing, but you guys will know the results of this game in the morning.
Yeah. But don't spoil it for us because we don't know. We don't know quite yet. Real quick before we move on from this one.
Yeah.
Arizona Cardinals. You worried about them? We didn't expect them to be a playoff team, but they showed glimpses of being a solid team.
Well, they played the Lions tough.
Yeah.
They upset the 49ers last week, even though, as we said last week, they were outplayed, certainly. Yeah, I have concerns. It's the things we talk about. Like today was just too hard. It's too hard, and if it isn't Kyler Murray making some highlight play, like they don't have a way of getting chunk plays, right? That's what I worry about. And then Marvin Harrison getting concussion too today, certainly took a weapon away. I just don't think they have enough big-time playmakers to mess with these type of teams. The 49ers are a little banged up. The 49ers have some defensive issues, and that worked out for them. But I think more times than not, and they play the 49ers, they're not going to win that football game 9 out of 10 times.
We got to talk about the Buccaneers win. We got to talk about the Falcons win. For that, we're going into the printing press. Give me the headlines. That is coming up, though, after this short break. Welcome back to Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. It is just before 11 p.m. As we tape this, we got to get the papers out on the doorstep
let's get them
early
out.
in the morning. Time for Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. Got 2 games to talk about in the newspaper. The Sims Express. What do we call in the newspaper?
Yeah.
Sims Times?
Yeah, Sims Express. I like
Sims
that.
Express,
Let's
right?
do that, yeah.
It's like a train.
I never heard you say that before, but we'll go with it right now.
Yeah, I don't think we should go with anything my brain comes up with at this point. I don't think it's working at full potential. Buccaneers defeat the Saints 51-27. Bucs outscoring New Orleans 27-0 in the second half. Your headline for this one is?
When in doubt, go with God. Win. That's as in Chris Godwin.
Over and over and over again.
God's good too, but he wasn't as good as Chris Godwin today. At least a receiver. I didn't see God have any great receiving stats today.
No, he may have helped, but no, for sure.
Okay.
He had a hand in some of them. Chris Godwin. What was his line here? I don't
11
have it right
for
in front of me.
125.
Wow.
Right. And not down the field chunk plays or anything like that, right? It was a lot of 5s and 10s and 15s. The biggest play was a 4-yard throw into the flat that he caught, broke a tackle, bounced off 2 people, and then outrun everybody into the end zone. And Chris Godwin's been phenomenal. I mean, they're really amazing with the fact of, getting the ball into Godwin and Evans' hands week after week. They just find ways to do that. And, of course, I think the world of Baker Mayfield. I think he's got a great arm. He's aggressive, and he can throw lasers wherever you want. This was the craziest game of the day, Ahmed. This was like Bucs totally controlling and dominating the game. And then we're like, wait, people watching aren't going to like this. We got to let them get into this and get a little interesting here. Right? And what they do after that, oh my gosh. I mean, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But either way, so here's what happens. They're up 17-0. The Saints get a field goal drive. Okay? But it's Baker Mayfield, I think, throws an interception 2 out of 3 plays in a row. They block a punt, and all of a sudden we're sitting there going, what? The Saints are getting killed, and they're winning 20-17. I mean, it flipped just like that, okay? But at the same time, it goes 20-17 Saints. The Bucs foot on the accelerator once again, and really could not be stopped on the offensive side of the ball the whole day. I mean, the Bucs, the way they ran the ball right? You remember our guy, Sean Tucker from Syracuse?
Yeah.
He was I think we ranked him number 4 in the running back rankings a few years ago. Yeah, he's about to become one of their go-to guys on offense. He had a phenomenal day.
14 carries, 136. And then Bucky Irving had 14 carries, 81 with a couple of really explosive plays.
These dudes they're real. They're impressive. Like, they really are. I'm impressed with every facet of how they run. They kind of got everything, right? Where it's like they can break an ankle, they can outrun you, they can run you over, right? They could stiff arm, get extra yards that way. Really, really impressive. The Bucs are a little bit of a roller coaster ride right now. Yes. They definitely messed up that Falcons Thursday night football game. There's no doubt about that. But today, fought some adversity, and then to almost put up 600 yards of offense, I mean, that's incredible. I don't care how many people are hurt on the Saints or whatever else. Incredible to put up those type of numbers. And just Baker, yards per completion, yards per rush, all of that. 8.3 yards per play for the Buccaneers offense, control the clock, all of it, all was really good. But, man, their offense was awesome today.
Yeah, there was a point in the game where Baker went down. He was struggling for a gain.
It looked like
he was holding his ribs.
Leg, and he got flipped up in the air. I don't know what it was.
Baker Mayfield's one of the more fun players to watch in the NFL right now. I'd rank him top 10 for sure.
He's feisty as hell. There's no doubt about that. Even though he went to OU, he's not a Longhorn, I'll give him a little credit.
Austin native.
Right.
So everything went well for Baker Mayfield except for the 3 interceptions in the second quarter.
Yep.
But they did get the win here. And Oklahoma just trounced the Red River rivalry.
Yeah.
And then did you see what they did?
Oh, I
Texas
saw.
Did
I was loving it. I was actually trying to talk crap to Baker last night on our pregame show for Oregon Ohio State, just to try to eat that, Baker, because I know Baker and we're friends and he's a great dude. But yeah, the Longhorns went a little medieval on Baker Mayfield's jersey.
Texas took the jersey and then they spiked it as if they were planting the flag on the jersey, because they did.
Yes.
Baker Mayfield's Oklahoma jersey. Baker saw that as well, and so he responded. So Pete, I think we have the response from Baker Mayfield on that.
A kid from Austin, Texas that went to Oklahoma and won his last 2 Red River games and being rent-free in their heads for almost a decade now. So, yeah. It's a good feeling.
He's such a chippy bastard.
He's like, that's a win for me. That's a win for me and for Oklahoma if they're still thinking about me.
It's personal to him. What I would say, though, is like I see Oklahoma in national championship games playing other teams, and they're still doing horns down. So I'm not sure who's in whose head.
There's a lot of,
even though their program is probably – through history, and it's better than Texas.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, even when they're playing other teams, they're still doing horns down. So you can't talk about rent-free in our heads. But I understand it. Baker's a baller. I love Baker. I mean, he started the whole flag plant thing, remember? Back in the day. He used to do it when OU used to beat Texas. He did it then. When they beat Ohio State, he did it at Ohio State. That was kind of his thing. So I don't know why Texas decided to bring that out and bring back old bad memories of Baker Mayfield beating us. But either way, he was awesome today. Really awesome for the Buccaneers.
And let me ask you, Spencer Rattler, what did you think of him?
You know what? I was really impressed with Spencer Rattler. Tough spot to be in. Here's my big thing. I know it wasn't a perfect game, but he made some plays in the game. He showed he was tough. And here's the biggest thing. His arm, to me, showed more explosive ability than he did in college, right? To me, he looked like a guy that was like, wait, I have to throw the ball like this in the NFL to get completions? Okay, I can do that. I can up my RPMs and mile per hours on the ball, right? And that was, I was impressed. Like I said, he made some aggressive, good throws down the field. Being down early, didn't panic. Those turnovers helped. But, yeah, I was impressed by him.
A guy that had talent in college and was once looked at as a Heisman candidate and one of the top NFL prospects.
And then Caleb Williams and all of that came into town and messed everything up for him.
What a roller coaster for the Saints here. Those 40-point scores against the Panthers and the Cowboys, and now they've lost 4 games in a row.
Yes, and I feel safe to say that they're in deep shit, right? As much as I loved them early in the year and I was excited about them, the Monday night loss to the Chiefs was not a good look. It wasn't the kind of look, and this is where I said this in our picks pod last week, so I'm not being like, prisoner of the moment. I know everything. That look against the Chiefs last week was, we got our butts whooped, right? We don't have a lot of answers, and we're a beat-up football team. And then we saw that again today. And they got to be concerned with their defense. Their offensive line, of course, is hurt, not playing at the same level. Your quarterback's out. The only bright thing today was Rashid Shaheed for the most part on the offensive side of the ball and his few of his big plays. But, they're in trouble there in New Orleans. And, of course, Tampa Bay is very good. I'm not sure the best team in the NFC South, but they're up there with the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, speaking of the Atlanta Falcons, 2 teams that are 4-2 4-2, the Bucs and the Falcons. Falcons got a win over the Panthers, 38-20. Your headline for this one is
the South Sweepers.
That's what happened.
Yes, it is.
Atlanta has beaten the NFC South opponents in each of the last 3 weeks. If you're going to go on a 3-game winning streak, it's best to do it against teams in your division. That's exactly what they did. They did it emphatically here on this Sunday.
They did. It wasn't easy early on. There was a little bit of going back and forth. Carolina kind of hung in there, but ultimately, what you just said is the Falcons are they're better all around. And as a game goes on, more times than not, and there's not major mistakes that happen, right? The more plays, the more time goes on, the better team continues to reveal itself more and more throughout the game, and that's what happened. I mean, the Panthers just couldn't keep pace. The biggest thing was the Panthers couldn't stop Kirk Cousins in the offense. They could do whatever they want. I mean, it was surgical. It was running the football. They really got it going in a big way today. And, yeah, the Panthers, resilient, tough. Dalton did make some big throws, but he threw, a big interception. I think when it was maybe 25-17, they were driving somewhere around that point of the game. He was kind of running out to his right and tried to throw a ball. I think it was to Deontay Johnson on the run, and it got undercut by, it might have been Phillips on that one, or it might have been A.J. Terrell, honestly. And that kind of ended the game where you felt like that was it, and they couldn't get Atlanta's offense off the field.
They ran the ball well, did the Falcons, 198 total yards. Algier goes over 100. Bijan Robinson almost does the same thing.
Another great duo for a football team. And you're seeing their O-line, I think, will continue to be dominant. Like, I won't be shocked if we can continue to see these type of stats, right? Drake London pops, certainly. Yep. Mooney always pops. Pitts is starting to pop on a more consistent basis. Kirk Cousins' arm is still not back to full strength, in my opinion, with the pop at his legs and really getting his legs underneath him and being able to push off. But still, he is a master at reading defenses and going to the right place with the ball. And they were clearly the better football team. Made some mistakes. Fumbled the ball. Ray McLeod one point when they got a first down. Let Carolina hang around, but ultimately the Falcons prevailed.
Last couple of years, the NFC South has not necessarily been the most entertaining division. The division winner sometimes right around 500. Atlanta and Tampa Bay legitimately entertaining.
They are. I'm with you there. I mean, the Kirk Cousins story, some of the weapons they have on that side of the ball, right? That's awesome. And then, how could you not like Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and that crew? I mean, they're fun to watch. And then Todd Bowles, he's going to blitz and either create chaos or it's going to be chaos against him. Yeah. So the Bucs are kind of fun, can't miss TV as far as entertainment purposes.
You know why he's going to do that?
Yeah.
Because we got Bowles in this house. Got Bowles in this house. He's a certified freak 7 days a week. Todd Bowles. That was Give Me the Headline, presented by Hyundai. Dun dun da 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 da.
Ahmed, I have an update for you.
What do we got?
The Bengals went down the field, scored a touchdown. Yeah. We had a play where Chase Brown broke a long run.
It was a fumble.
Fumbled, and nobody recovered it. It got knocked out of bounds. And then about, I'm going to say 2 plays later, Chase Brown breaks it up the middle for a 30-yard touchdown, and now it is 17-7.
And Daniel Jones just threw the ball into a hand while taking a helmet to the chin. So
that's that. And now he's taking a helmet to the back of the head. So, but that's pretty much. Hey, Trey Hendrickson gave Andrew Thomas about as hard a time as I've seen anybody give Andrew Thomas the last 2 or 3 years. That's encouraging to see. Bengals still got issues. They don't rush the passer all that well, but Hendrickson definitely has been a force tonight against one of the best pass-protecting left tackles in all of football, in Andrew Thomas.
All right, full recap of this game coming up. Now we go into the taking care of business section, and we'll start with the Eagles beating the Browns. I call this game one where both teams are like, ew.
Yeah,
that was kind of gross. Even though
it was a little.
Even though we saw A.J. Brown, that's a positive. We saw Devontae Smith for the Eagles. So those are 2 good signs, but it was still a struggle for the Eagles, and the Browns do not look like offensively competent team right now.
No, well, I mean, I don't even know where to start with this. The Browns' offense, we know. It's horrible, right? And I do think at a point that it puts so much pressure on their defense because then they go, we got to create a play. We got to do something, right? I feel like they feel like that's the only way they can win the football game. And therefore probably call, even more aggressive defenses than they would actually like. And Jim Schwartz loves to call aggressive defenses, but I'm sure it's a little bit to a point now where he's like, man, I can't believe I'm calling this. You're trying to do this. This was a defensive struggle football game. It really was through, the better part of the game. And then there became a tough drive kind of midway through the second quarter, and you said it right. When they have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, it changes how you can play them, how you play them in general. You always have to defend their run, but when you defend their run too much and you leave those two studs man-to-man outside, yeah, good luck. I don't care what team you are. You can't cover both of them.
So we got the dots of the 22-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Brown here to illustrate your point.
Yeah, well, and here it is, just lined up on the left side. I believe he's got Emerson on him, right, number 23. It's a little slot inside fade, and he beats Emerson off the ball, gets in front of him. And it's not even really a great throw by Jalen Hurts, but A.J. Brown is so crafty and good and strong. He pinned Emerson on his back and stopped him and slowed down to where the ball just dropped right in his breadbasket the appropriate way. And really that was about, it felt like that was about all the offense that was needed for the day. But the Browns get an ugly field goal drive, and then they block a field goal, and you're like, what? This kind of felt like Browns last year where you're like, wait, is the defense and special teams, are they going to be able to make this happen? But no. Eventually, Philly started to drive the ball. The problem with the Browns is they have to be so aggressive. They play man-to-man so much that, against a team like this, it's one-on-one fades, or the touchdown that won the game, which was a play they did a few times in the game. They just ran two crossers from the right, and then they had Devontae Smith come underneath those two crossers, a bona fide pick play, right? But when there's that many people in the middle of the field, bodies start to hit each other and run into each other, and he was wide open and basically walked into the end zone from 45 yards out.
Despite those two plays, still a bit of a struggle. Now the Eagles 4 straight games with 21 or fewer points for the first time since 2020. Ted Lieberman says, why can't the Eagles seem to get on track? Has Hurts regressed, or is Moore trying to turn him into Dak? So Kellen Moore over from the Cowboys.
Hurts has not played well. I think that would be the first thing I would say. You missed your receivers, which is always a big thing. Hurts, the turnovers, watching back the Tampa game from the week before, or their last game when they didn't play well down in Tampa. He definitely missed reads. He held the ball too long when people were open at times. So he's not been on his A game, I guess is what I would say. Now, I think part of that is probably learning a new offense and all of that as well, right? But at the same time, too, I do think they're a team at times where, and maybe this is still in the process, that for a quarterback of his caliber, I do think there has to be a little bit more done at the line of scrimmage, right? Caleb Williams is doing more at the line of scrimmage than Jalen Hurts, right? Jayden Daniels is doing more at the line of scrimmage than Jalen Hurts. And that, to me, speaks to another problem. So what I see a little bit from them on a week-to-week basis, and I know you've heard me say this before, is teams come out with something new, and they're like, Philly's really good, so we got to take a few chances. And Philly doesn't seem like they're an audible team, or they've given him the green light to, change plays at the line of scrimmage. And therefore, I think a lot of times they run plays into I go, that play is never going to work into that look ever. That run or that pass, it's not going to ever work. Something has to be changed there. But they kind of just go, we're just going to call it and try to make it work. And that's where I think it leads to a little bit of the sloppiness of their offense at times.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, totally. I mean, because you don't see that. You don't see Jalen Hurts at the line.
It's not. You don't see it. And again, and I'm not saying anything, because whenever I say anything about Jalen Hurts, I get a lot of negative feedback. And I'm not saying anything necessarily negative about him. It's about how they're wired, how they play offense. And I do think it's a part of the game where they could help him improve and become more dangerous on that side of the ball by letting him have a little more control at the line of scrimmage.
And then you got the quarterback on the other side here. Deshaun Watson sacked another 5 times today, sacked an NFL high 31 times this season. Certainly he's not getting any help from his offensive line, the team around him, but he is struggling, as he has for the last couple of years now. I'm kind of the philosophy of Tony Dungy, and now he didn't say this on Football Night in America, but the question of should he be benched, should he not be benched? I think the Browns now have not earned the dignity of that discussion anymore. I think regardless of who they put in at this point, Jameis Winston, Deshaun Watson, I think they're a pretty bad offensive football team.
Well, I don't disagree with you there. They're not. They don't reinvent the wheel necessarily on the offensive side of the ball. I've never been like, oh wow. Yeah. what great passes and schemes and all that. They're at their best when their O-line and Nick Chubb are healthy and they can run the ball, and then it like kind of makes their fairly simple pass offense look better because you're just like, we have to stop these guys from running the ball down our throat, right? That's kind of how they've lived. But right now they can't run the ball, and it's putting more of a bright light and spotlight on the passing game of Deshaun Watson. And Watson's horrible. I don't know any way to say it. You know, let alone there's a look of him that I'm not even sure he cares sometimes. And again, I don't know if that's the way he feels. I'm just telling you as a viewer and somebody that watches the game, right? You know, there's a lot going on there. I think you heard somebody last week in Washington say, man, they feel like he's not the same and he's in his own head. I think Jonathan Allen or somebody on the Washington defense made a comment similar to that. But yeah, and then that's another one too where you heard me say during the quarterback rankings earlier this year, the offense is simple. They don't do a lot. It almost feels like they're managing him at times. And another one where I would go, I don't see a lot of at the line of scrimmage command of like, hey, let's get out of this play. They're doing this, they're doing that. And this modern day NFL, like it's a necessity. It's a necessity. The defenses do too much all the time. So you don't want to waste plays. And again, it's a necessity to the point where you're seeing, like I said, C.J. Stroud, Jayden Daniels, Caleb Williams, they're all doing it at a high level already. And you're like, wow, because that's what you have to do to be a successful offense. What do you think made New England and Brady so good? Mahomes and what he's doing. I mean, watch, Mahomes is talking the whole game. That's what a good functioning offense does, and I don't see enough of that, let alone the play by Deshaun Watson just not good enough.
They should just let the team, the players vote at this point. Just vote. You pick a name. And whoever gets the most votes.
There's only one vote that matters.
Yeah.
The owner.
And
the GM. Paul DePodesta, the analytics guy.
And at the end of the day, I don't think either one will matter because they're 1-5 right now, and they look like they're destined for a pretty unimpressive season for the Cleveland Browns. Dun dun da 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 da. We do have a final at MetLife. Your G-men go down. Your professional reputation lives to fight another week here as the Cincinnati Bengals do win 17-7. Instant takeaways.
It was an ugly game. The Giants could have won this football game. Like. Seriously. I mean, made mistakes, missed field goals, missed open people down the field. And they had plenty of opportunities to win this football game. Good field position, whatever. The Bengals didn't play well. A little concerning. I mean, we know the Bengals' defense isn't very good, and I'll give them credit for making some big stops and only holding them to 7. But again, it kind of feels like if the Giants had, healthy right field goal kicker, they could have won the game. They really could have. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, and again, the Bengals, it's a late touchdown and a Joe Burrow 50-yard scramble for a touchdown to start the game. That was literally their offense. T. Higgins was big, but yeah, not very impressive. But this is kind of what we've come to expect with the Giants. It's like we do some things positive, we hang around, but we can never make the key plays to kind of pull out the victory or get control of a football game. And I think that's what's disappointing, and that's what kind of happened again tonight.
We got Sad Pete in our rundown saying, such is the life with a middling quarterback. And so who as at one point I think was a Daniel Jones defender, I think is turning on.
Well, I think it's we're both Daniel Jones defenders.
Yes.
Right? And he hasn't had a ton of help. And stats, as we always say, don't say everything, right? And there's more. There's context. Context does matter. And I think with the thing with Daniel Jones, what happens a lot of the times when I, as a Giant fan, I watch him, and I think Pete would agree with this, is just that, again, I don't care about stats, but we've talked about this with other things where, like, Mahomes and Allen might only throw for 170, but the 3 big plays of the day that they had open to score a touchdown or put the other team away for the day, they hit those 3 plays in that moment. And I think that's where Daniel Jones kind of leaves a bad taste in Giant fans' mouth, where you're like, wait, we got him on the ropes. We're about to control him. Oh, he's open deep. Oh, he missed him. Oh, hey, we're looking good. We're hanging in there. We got a chance again. Hey, we got him. He's deep. Oh, we missed him again. And that's where I think it just kind of feels like in some of the big moments or gotta-have-it moments, Daniel Jones doesn't always come through there with the play you'd like from, the $40 million quarterback.
So the Bengals was not pretty, but it is a win, second win of the year for them. And I guess if you're looking at the defensive side of the ball here, yes, the Giants are not world beaters for all the reasons you just laid out. But if you want to get some positive momentum rolling,
that's right. That's right. He got stops. He held them to 7. Right. Trey Hendrickson had a good day, but still. I think there's plenty of questions here. Joe Burrow's not going to be happy about the performance, the offense. Jamar Chase had an okay day. He dropped a big pass in the second quarter where you felt like if he catches that, they're going to start controlling the football game. T. Higgins was a boss today in this football game. But ultimately, I think the big thing of the day, and I didn't quite expect it to this point, the Giants' front kicked the shit out of the Bengals' offensive line. I mean, they really did. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Ojulari, they were all over Joe Burrow. And that, to me, was the way they almost stole the football game. Ran the ball okay, did some things there, but, just not enough explosive plays on the offensive side of the ball from the Giants, and the Bengals eke it out. But honestly, one of these where they won 17-7, and I feel worse about them today than I did when they won 17-7, and feel worse today than when they lost last week to the Ravens and how they played in that game.
Sure. We thought the Cincinnati Bengals would be one of the best teams in the AFC. That has not been the case so far. Not. Houston Texans have looked like one of the best teams in the AFC. They are now 5-1. They get a win over the Drake May-led New England Patriots, 41-21. This is Houston's best start since 2012, and I think that is notable too, because I think that there were some that thought that Houston might have a little bit of a sophomore slump, right? Came onto the scene a little early last year.
Right.
And it was like, okay, are they going to be a little full of themselves? Were they really that good?
Yep.
Will they take a little bit of a step back? Will the league figure them out a little bit? So far, doesn't look like it.
No, they're good. They really are good. They've had I think some shaky moments this year. I don't think they've yet to play probably their best football game. Even in this football game, they came out kind of firing on all cylinders. It was like I wrote in my notes, like surgical Stroud early. I mean, that's what it was. It was just like, oh my gosh, dot, great throw, dot. Oh my gosh, he's on fire, right? They're up 14-0. Drake May's throwing a bad interception. You're going, oh man, Drake May, of course, a tough circumstance to come in and start today against a Texans defense that's got talent and speed and all of that. But you sit there and all of a sudden you feel like, hey, the Texans got this or whatever else, and they miss a field goal. Stroud throws an interception. He's got Schultz open in the end zone. He missed the throw. And they kind of let the Patriots hang around. And then what happened? We saw a little bit of the Drake May talent and why they drafted him at number 3, right? We all know I wasn't the biggest Drake May backer. I understand that. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to root for him and see what he can do. He showed some positive things today. Right? There's still some work that has to be done. I do think he's reluctant to pull the trigger, and he doesn't trust the accuracy of his arm quite yet. That's why he holds the ball and gets hit sometimes and all of that, but still made some explosive throws. You see how powerful his arm is when he lets it go, throws a nice deep ball, and of course he's a very good athlete on top of that. Right? So I think all of that was really positive. They had no run game to help them. They had nothing. They got down early. It was tough circumstances. And as we know, this Houston Texans team is pretty damn good. But when he got strip sacked by Will Anderson on the right side, which was one, thank God he didn't hurt his arm, because he really got his arm smushed as he was throwing it. Like one of those where you're like, oh, he could have hurt his elbow.
Yep.
Right? They got the strip sack. Stroud threw a touchdown pass to Diggs on the next play to make it 21-7. You kind of felt like from that point on, that was all she wrote. The Texans controlled the football game.
Yeah, Will Anderson, 8 tackles, 3 sacks. Joe Mixon, over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown for the second time in 3 games he's played this year. And so when healthy, he has been very good. And, of course, C.J. Stroud with a good game. But we do have the dots for the 40-yard touchdown from Drake May to Keyshawn Boutte.
Boutte, yeah.
I think some people have gone with the Boutte pronunciation.
I don't know
it's more
either.
the French pronunciation, but here it is, the first career touchdown pass of Drake May's NFL career.
Hey, it's straight go out. It's LSU versus LSU. It's Boutte versus Stingley on the outside. May throws it nice and high. Lets Boutte run under it.
I think it's Boutte. I think it's Boutte.
I think it's Boutte too. I think I heard Devin McCourty today say Boutte, and it got me all messed up. And I started to believe him because I was like, well, he always goes to the Patriots practices. He might know better than me.
Yeah, well, maybe someone was like, he's playing like Boutte out there. He was like, what? That was a joke.
But, this was one of the, I would say, 6 or 7 throws of the day where I went, ooh, wow, nice throw, Drake May. Like, that looked really good. I wasn't sure you could do that consistently like that. But positive signs there. And it's not going to be easy for him. We know that. Houston's very good. They really are. Joe Mixon was phenomenal today. No doubt about it. But they do have this little thing right now of like, they like we saw last week, they can dominate for a little while and then all of a sudden lose their way for a quarter. And it happened a little today, but the Patriots aren't good enough to quite take advantage of it. But either way, we know the Texans are good and certainly have one of the best quarterbacks in the game.
Yeah, sign of a good team when you can do that and still win by 20.
Right. Yeah, you're right about that.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, some other road teams getting big wins. We'll sum up those games right after this. Welcome back to Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement, and several road teams know how to win on the road. So excluding that London game, which was not a road game. It's like a road game.
No, it was
both
actually
teams.
Technically a Bears home game, I believe.
Way to defend the home turf.
And which was funny, like I know you didn't get to see it again.
I did see some of it on the plane,
actually. You didn't get to see it? Okay.
Yeah.
The Bears, I got such a kick out of the crowd. At one point, they showed the crowd, and I'm not shitting you. They showed 100 Mike Ditkas. Like everybody in the UK was like, let's go to the game as Mike Ditka. The Bears are in town.
They go, yeah. And then half of them got there and
fake mustaches.
They go, where's Ditka? I thought he was going to be here.
Yeah, right.
They were just shocked. So, yeah, that was a good one for the Bears. But excluding that game, the road team was favored in 9 of the 13 games this week. And all of those favorites won, with the Bills still to come tomorrow. So the road teams that were favored have defended the away turf, I guess is how you would say that, maybe?
Right. Yeah, I guess. Sure.
So something like that. So let's get to it. All those Steelers, wherever they go, they have home fans. So I feel like they play every game at home.
They definitely. This was home.
There was
more Steeler fans than Raider fans.
I would not doubt that.
Yeah.
They beat the Raiders 32-13. Steelers snapped their 2-game losing streak. What's your headline on this one?
Well, I don't have a headline. This is not a Hyundai presenting the headlines. All right. I've never seen you so flustered in the show before.
Don't put that
actually.
pressure. I just meant what's yours.
I know. What's my main thought?
What's your headline?
Yes, what's my headline is what you meant. My headline is that, it's a perfect matchup for the Steelers, and it was a Steeler type of win. TJ Watt, 2 fumbles, they blocked a punt, right? Offense was ugly. Najee Harris, I do think, looked about as good as I've ever seen him look here in the last year.
He broke one.
He broke one. He looked explosive. He looked fast and fresh today, definitely. But, yeah, again, I don't know if it makes me feel a whole lot better about the Steelers or anything like that. Offense was an issue. Justin Fields, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't pretty. He threw a bad interception early and got a roughing the passer, and that erased the interception, but to the point where you were like, things don't look real good. Yeah. And now he threw an interception to where I was like, this is they're going to start warming up Russell Wilson. But then TJ Watt gets the strip, and just the avalanche started to fall, and the Steelers started to dominate the game.
TJ Watt tying a career high with those 2 forced fumbles. Yeah, Vamos for Ramos says, damn okay, Justin Fields. Can we finally call him Pittsburgh's starting quarterback for the rest of the season?
I don't know.
I mean, he did have the 2 rushing touchdowns, like you mentioned, but I don't think 14-24 for 145 really screams that.
No, I don't think it gives you the, you're the starter for the rest of the season. I think this does go, we'll give you the starter for next week. Week 7, you can start for sure.
And maybe not finish, but you can start.
Yeah, I think until he starts to put games where, like kind of you're saying, he's impressive, he's dicing people up week after week, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. They certainly didn't win this game because of Justin Fields. They won this game because of their defense and the special teams, and the Raiders are dysfunctional right now. But they block a punt, right? They get a field goal, go up 15-7. Then the Najee Harris breaks a long run, and that was all she wrote. But that was late in the third quarter, right? And it was a Raiders offense that we know is not super talented right now and lacks weapons and can't run the ball consistently well.
Yeah.
Perfect matchup for the Steelers to get back on track.
It's a bad time for the Raiders right now.
Yes,
I don't know where Devontae Adams going to go. Max Crosby, when's he going to get traded to the Lions? These are all questions that we need to have answered at some point this season.
I hear you with the Max Crosby thing, right? I've heard some people say, like, well, maybe the Lions should trade for Max Crosby. That might be the only guy that's untouchable on the Raiders football team. Right? They got to build something around somebody. Mm-hmm. He is a culture guy. Mm-hmm. He's by far the face of their franchise right now. I don't think they would even trade him. I don't think they would.
For a juicy 3rd-round pick, maybe they'd think about it then.
Yeah, right.
Chargers defeated the Broncos 23-16 in a game where Jim Harbaugh went into the blue tent. Hope he is okay. if you were to ask me before the season, which is the one head coach that something weird's going to happen, he's going to go into the blue tent, I would say Jim Harbaugh. I just whatever the circumstance. Apparently it's a heart thing, so hopefully he's okay and checks out okay. He was back on the sideline at the end of this one, and it was a Chargers victory over a pretty hot Broncos team coming to this.
Yeah, right. Hot Broncos team, but like we talk about all the time, it's not who's better. It's a matchup league, and the Chargers can play the same style of football the Denver Broncos can, except they also have Justin Herbert, right? And I think that's where it changes. 2 weeks to prepare for the Broncos defense, right? I think that helped. I was very impressed with their plan. Greg Roman and them were very patient. They were going to run the ball, and they were going to throw the ball quickly and not let, the craziness of the Broncos defense strip sack Herbert or, have him hit as he's throwing the ball and waiting for something to develop down the field and the ball pops in the air and it's an interception. They didn't do any of that. So I was very impressed with that aspect of the game plan. And then, we've talked about the Broncos defense a lot. The Chargers defense is awesome too. It's awesome. Bo Nix started the game off with the interception. Then Herbert hit the big pass to Vidal.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know exactly how to say his name the right way.
Vidal Sassoon.
Yeah, it's not Vidal Sassoon, but he hit the rookie down the right sideline, and 10-0 kind of felt like, that's all they need to do for the rest of the football game. Controlled the clock. They third down conversions. Denver couldn't get off the field. They knew how to pick up the blitz. Surtain got hurt. I'm not sure if that scared Denver from playing a little bit more man-to-man, but that's why I thought the Chargers would win the game. I thought, hey, this is Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. Harbaugh never lets his quarterback get just killed, right? Yeah. They're going to protect him. And then with people around you under pressure, nobody's better than Justin Herbert throwing in those elements. And he showed that again today. It wasn't pretty, but it was a good win for them on the road, and they're back on the winning track.
Kamani Vidal. There we go.
Thank you.
We got that in our brain right now. And Jim Harbaugh, I feel like very Bill Belichick-esque. He doesn't care how it looks.
No,
he doesn't
exactly
need to look pretty.
Right. Just win the game this week.
Figure out a way to win.
We don't care.
And they've won 3 times this year.
I hope he's feeling better, and
for sure.
We'll see where that goes.
Three wins for the Chargers, 2 losses on the season. One more game to talk about on this Sunday. Colts get a 3-point win over the Titans, 20-17. It is Indy's 3rd straight win versus the Titans, and all 3 of their wins have been by a total of 11 points this season for the Colts, and so they have played in some close games and won some close games.
Yeah, they have. A good victory. Flacco came out hot. Then Flacco kind of went like, this is like Crazy Joe. He's throwing into triple coverage and holding the ball a little too long, and the Titans were hanging in there. Levis threw a touchdown pass to make it 7-7, but the Titans it's all about their defense, and I don't know what their offense is, right? I really don't. Levis is certainly not playing at a very high level. He makes a lot of bad mistakes. I feel like he was gun shy today because he knew if he made a bad mistake or did anything like that, he's probably going to get benched. So I feel like he was a little bit reluctant to cut it loose. That's what it felt like to me. They couldn't get anything going in the pass game. They ran the ball a little, but it was only on a drive here and there. It was Strugglesville, for real. That was the issue for the day. Tennessee's defense has to do it all. I don't want to say they're like the Browns, but they're a little like that. Their front's awesome. Their secondary's damn good. They make plays. They do all that, but there's just too much pressure on them. And then I think today, too, with the Colts being as good as they are at running the football, and they did a pretty good job of bottling it up. But what they did is played a lot of man-to-man behind it to bottle it up, and they had a lot of penalties on the defensive side of the ball today.
Oof.
Certainly some pass interferences, right? 11 penalties for 113 yards. Yeah. That was an issue. That was a big part of some of the Colts' drives. I'd be like, wait, what did the Colts do in that drive? Oh, PI and a personal foul, and then Flacco hit one throw, and they went down and got the field goal. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's all that it was? So, ugly football game. Most Titans games are going to be ugly, but Joe Flacco, still, big throws. Good for the Colts and Shane Steichen. They get the win, and damn, they're sitting there 3-3.
Throw it up to Michael Pittman. That was the game-deciding play.
Throw it up in the middle of the end zone and let him go get it. Only Joe Flacco. Yeah. And great job by Michael Pittman coming down with that.
Will Levis is like, how come when I do stuff like that, it doesn't work out?
Exactly right.
Yeah. To your point, the Colts had just 269 yards of offense. Titans 241. It was a grind for both offenses, but the Colts figured out a way to win that grind.
The Titans front is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Their front four is really good. Their secondary is really good too. But unfortunately, it feels like the Steelers or the Browns, where it's just like the game's always going to be ugly on offense, and can their defense create some turnovers and win the game for them? And that's just not possible week after week.
We don't want you to forget what happened on Thursday. 49ers went into Seattle, beat the Seahawks 36-24.
Yeah.
What's your biggest takeaway from that?
Well, the 49ers are a dangerous offensive football team. Like we talked about at the start of the show, they're certainly in the conversation for one of the best offenses in football. They're a big problem. I mean, again, special teams, they let up a kick return when they're about to blow Seattle out. We saw them let up a big punt return in the Rams game late in the game that let the Rams come back and win the football game. There's been issues there. The 49ers defense is a little scary. I think that's the big problem. Hufanga, he's hurt. They don't really have a shutdown corner. Dre Greenlaw, right? He's not there. Javon Hargraves, D tackle, he's not there. He's out for the year. They only have one elite D lineman right now in Nick Bosa, right? So that's what I worry about them going forward, and that's kind of what happened in the second half. You just felt like Seattle finally got in a roll, started to make some big plays and do all of that, but clearly the 49ers are the better team on the football field. Yeah. And damn, can they run the football. I hope Jordan Mason's okay, right? He hurt his shoulder a little bit in the football game because he is really good. We saw the kid from Louisville break the big run at the end of the football game, but man, when Shanahan got a feel like he did the other night, and you're just like, whoa, there goes Debo. Whoa, there goes Kittle. Whoa, there goes the run game. They are fun to watch, and I certainly am not counting out the San Francisco 49ers. They are the best 3-3 football team in the league.
Cool thing about those Thursday games is that a lot of times those players will show up at our Big Ten Saturday night game, and so we saw Jackson Smith and Jigba there.
Cool.
Former Ohio State Buckeye, and we also saw Geno Smith, who is cousins with Jeremiah Smith.
Oh, I didn't even realize. I heard that the other game.
Wide receiver
during the game.
Ohio State. Did you know that Geno Smith, he was talking to Michael Robinson before the game.
Yeah.
And Mike Robb goes, did you know Geno Smith said that if Jeremiah Smith, who is the true freshman wide receiver for Ohio State, if he was in the NFL right now, he told me he would be the number 9 wide receiver in the NFL. I was like, dang. I was like, that's pretty impressive. And also, dang, Geno has gone through and ranked.
He went through 8 others, and he was like, I think he's 9 after that group right
I would
there.
love to see that list from Geno.
He's one of those guys that we talk about every now and then where you go, this is a guy that doesn't need to stay in college football for 3 years. Like, he's ready right now.
He can opt out of the rest of this year and next year as well.
And probably be a first-round pick, honestly. He is. But, big win for the 49ers out there. They get back on the right track. I worry about their defense, like I said, but Brock Purdy's been awesome, and we know that offense will continue to be awesome.
One more game to go. Bills at Jets. It will be the debut for interim head coach Aaron Rodgers. Jeff Ulbrich. Pete threw that in the rundown for us. The Bills are a 1-point favorite, so it should be close, they think. Yeah. But you predicted a Jets upset victory, 20-17.
Yeah, I'm having a good week with picks, so I don't want to jinx myself.
Sure.
Okay.
Right.
In fact,
don't hit the table.
I think I only got one pick wrong today, actually.
Wow.
I picked the Titans to beat the Colts. That was my only wrong one. But I'm taking the Jets in this one.
Dang.
I don't have faith in the Bills' offense, as you've heard me say. This is the best defense in football, the New York Jets. They are. And as you always hear me say with Buffalo, the zone, they don't play a ton of man. I think this is a game where Rodgers can find some holes and pick them apart a little bit. Let alone, I'm interested to see if they change their formula on defense, right? I was on Football Night in America. I've talked to people around the NFL. Aaron Rodgers had nothing to do with Robert Saleh being fired. It truly, from what I know from people in the know, right, Woody Johnson was just sick of Robert Saleh. He had enough. It was over. Right.
As a football coach?
As a football coach. It sounded like really Woody Johnson wanted to fire him in the offseason and for whatever reason kept him, but it was always in the back of his mind. He had enough, right? And now Todd Downing taking over the play calling duties and replacing Nathaniel Hackett. What I would say is, again, this is not Nathaniel Hackett's offense. This is Aaron Rodgers' offense, right? And is Todd Downing going to be able to talk Aaron Rodgers into running what he wants to run? I don't know. I got to see it to believe it that they're going to play a different way. But maybe they will. I hope they do. I would love to see them run the ball, and then keep a tight end, play action, throw the ball down the field with one of the most gifted arms in the history of football, and let Garrett Wilson go a 20-yard comeback like we talked about, do that. And then you could sprinkle in some Rodgers shit every now and then. Right, but I'm still taking them to win the football game in a close one tomorrow.
So what I know is you're already mad if you see conservative Aaron Rodgers on the field. With you picking the Jets, if you see that tomorrow, you're going to be even madder. You're going to be like, oh, my God, why is he still doing that?
Why did I go with this? What did I do?
I'm mad at myself. DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the app and use promo code Unbuttoned when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Wow.
Well, at least you knew how to do that part. I think that's the only time you spoke real English today.
My brain stopped working 2 hours ago, which was about 30 minutes before we started this podcast. So
well,
that was not
You have
good.
all the right to have your brain stop.
That's a long. I mean, it's like there's no directs to Eugene,
literally across the country.
But it was cool being there.
That's a cool stadium.
Probably the best
game
I've ever been to.
I want to bucket list go to that Oregon stadium one day. I do want to see that.
We might be there the last week.
Okay.
Washington, Oregon.
I'm busy. I can't do this year. All right. But you are the man, as always.
Yes.
Thank you for directing this show,
you as well,
driving
Chris.
the ship here. As always, Ahmed Freed is the man. Hope everybody enjoyed the Week 6 recap. You know where to find us. We'll be back on Wednesday for the Pick 6 podcast. Thursday with Florio picking the games. Enjoy Monday Night Football. The Jets and the Bills. That should be awesome. All right. Everybody be good. You know where it is. Subscribe, rate, review, send your questions. Peace out, homies. Clap it up. Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Sims Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.